Okay, so we are watching one of my battles I did in Anti-City's Ladder. This is against Lunacy. Lunacy is playing the Warriors of Chaos while I am fighting as the High Elves. This is a matchup that is played very often and I think it's a fun one. So I went for a pretty defensive position, thinking I didn't want like Chaos Manticores or things like that. If it was a monster match, I have what it takes to break it. My idea is I have 5 units of Spears, 4 Silverine, and 1 regular Spearman, 1 Sword Master of Hoest to deal with Chaos Warriors with Halberd or Chaos Warriors with Guard Weapon, this kind of threat. I have 1 Flamespire Phoenix to cause terror, poop on things if I remember to do it, and also it can do okay damage to a lot of enemy units. Like there are Shagos or things like that. It won't be enough by itself, but with adequate support and with Kindle Flame, it can actually do okay against other single entities, and it's cheap, and it has rebirth. So, lot of things in that little unit. And finally, 3 units of Alien River Archers. Their job is counter-skirmishing the enemy cav and charging Chaos Warhound in the face if they come too close to my archers. And now that we got of my archers, it's the Talon and Sisters. It's a synergy that doesn't always work. On paper, it looks incredible because you have like Sisters of Avalon, they cause fire damage, and Talons of Corcaleda, they cause fire weakness, and so Sisters are gonna do incredible damage. And it is true to an extent, but it's also only 2 units, so it's easy for one of them at least to get stuck in a combat, and then, you know, it doesn't always, for the cost of 2,000, 4 units of regular archers would often do actually almost as well, if not better. And finally, as a lord, I have Teclis, and Teclis I brought Net, Flaming Sword of Ruin, again for Kindle Flame, the Potion, and Phoenix thingy? Bound Fiery Convocation, there you go. So if there is like a lot of enemy heavy infantry of value, you net them and beam, Fiery Convocation, they all die, big value on Teclis. That's one of the most obnoxious things you can do with Teclis, and it's always fun when you're doing it and not when you receive it. And finally Sword, just to boost his magic a bit more. Now Raptor, go over the Chaos Army. Where do you want to start?
So Chaos has gone for also a big skirmish core. With, I'm gonna guess that's Murder Horsemen. The amount, maybe some. It's really like 5 Murder Horsemen and Horsemasters mixed up as the skirmish core. So just try to overrun and win the mobility game with 2 Hounds. It's gonna be Poison to get a nice slow effect if they do get into melee. Just really win the mobility game. And it's gonna also be a whole lot of infantry with the standard Chaos Marauders and some Great Weapon Marauders as well. Just in case for those heavily armored Silverines. We have the Mirror Guard. For some more heavily armored Chaos Warriors. And the Demon's View Forsaken, that's a very interesting pick.
Yeah, that's
the unit that does high damage with poison, but doesn't take damage well either.
Yeah, exactly. They're a very glass cannon-y unit. However, during the battle we'll see they actually do okay against Silverines because of their like very high DPS, and Silverine having only 75 armor. That's not that much, so they still do a lot. And with like if they're on top of 1 unit of Chaos Marauders, they actually do fine. And Poison is always a nice addition.
The poison against the Silverines with their low melee attack is gonna make them actually quite hard to hit for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Up in the sky there is 1 Chaos Manticore for that monster engagement. But a cheap, good monster with the pterosaurs. Fast, you can get it where you want. Bit low health pool and it can rampage, so you have to be careful against it with it. So if it gets netted by Teclis in front of all those archers, that's gonna be a dead Manticore.
Yeah, I think it's a risky pick, but you don't want it, like basically if you have Manticore, you don't want to send it too early in the battle. You want to you don't need it necessarily in early game. Like you need the terror in often need the terror in end game to like finish things, or like when enemy single entities are a bit tattered and their manticore will be able to beat them. I think that's often the best case against like if the enemy has heavy range. You don't need to like you can use tactical reserve. It's not just a meme. You can keep it on in reserve for at least the first third of the battle.
Yeah, like keep it just outside of range to bait the Highlands to send their archers forwards, then crush them.
Exactly.
And the Lord is the big bird itself, Sartorial, the Everwatcher.
Yeah.
So you got an unbreakable Lord with a very high missile resistance and final transmutation. I would probably want another cheap spell, Plague of Rest, or at least something else. But final
Searing
transmutation
Doom, for example.
Big blobs is gonna wreck everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I when I saw it was Sartorial, I tried my best to not blob up too much, but I actually didn't see if I'd got any final transmutation, big final trans casted on me at some point. So we'll see if I manage to keep my promise to myself to not get a big blob final trans. Okay, so the battle is starting. It's gonna be skirmish cav. So the Ilian Weavers outrange the enemy, the Marauder Horseman and Marauder Horsemasters, so that's the advantage. However, the numbers game is against me. The Chaos Warhounds with Poison are gonna advance.
And also, Hyles get weaker when they take damage. They lose some stats. So they want to keep that health.
True, they have Martial Prowess, which give them plus 12 melee defense and 2 melee attack. So, like, with that, 34 melee defense is really good. 22 isn't as much.
Yeah, that's gonna be, like, the Hounds will kill them fast.
Exactly. Shooting the talent shooting at Sartorial, it won't do much to him with his missile resist, but I mean it doesn't hurt, and they have a lot of ammunition. I think I reorient them to shoot at something else.
I think getting 1 or 2 volleys from the talents is fine, but you don't want sisters wasting ammo on them.
Yeah, exactly. So I was wondering at that point, do I want to use my ammunition of my archers on the cav, and then I decided yes. They might not be the most expensive units, but the problem is they are gonna be the big danger for my archers, so I'm gonna try to go against them as much as I can. So yeah, these Ilian Weavers I waste. This is a misplay. You don't want your Ilian Weavers like wandering around like that. They're gonna get attacked by the hounds and then surrounded and killed, especially if there are horsemasters in the mix with okay melee stats too. So here, of course, a net, and it's gonna be the end of that manticore. Just like we said, a manticore doesn't want to do that.
He did get to dodge 1 volley by flying up in the air while netted, but that 1 volley is not enough to save him.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not sure if it might break before. No, it won't. Like it rampage now. I'm gonna do a fiery convocation because why not? It will do some damage. Yeah, it's such a beautiful spell. I didn't have a net available, so they managed to dodge some of it, but it still did okay damage. And so at that point, I'm looking around and I'm like, well, you know, the frontline fight isn't going like perfectly, but you know, I had 3 units of cav and they had like 7 counting the hounds. Now I have 2 units of cav and they have like 5. But I feel like they are more tattered than me, so I'm somewhat confident. What worries me is... Oh, that's... I haven't seen a final trance yet. Still haven't
That would have been a good blob to use it on.
Yeah. Yeah, you have the Flamespire Phoenix and the Swordmaster of Hoes. I tried to send... Oh, net on him. Yeah, I was hoping my Flamespire Phoenix would do more damage. But yeah, he was. There were
halberds. What halberds are those? Is it
Chaos Warriors?
Chaos Warriors. If it was Chosen, that would have been very bad.
Yeah.
It's still fairly bad.
Actually, like I was looking from here, like with from the top, and I actually didn't see the halberd. I saw the Demon Spew and the Chaos Warrior Marauder. So without the halberd, I was like, why am I taking that much damage? Well, that was why. Here, my archer line is getting attacked. And my cav is nowhere to be seen at this point. They got finally overrun. These ones are fleeing. And yeah. However, with the support of the Flamespire Phoenix that came back and thicc that had to like sacrifice himself to an extent, I'm trying to not have him killed, we managed to push them back. And Sisters of Avalon have 51 melee defense, so once the charge bonus of the Marauder Horseman passes, they actually won't take that much damage. And now it's gonna be sending like Silvering Guard, trying to intercept the enemy as much as possible to allow my sisters to shoot and finish the enemy mobility. Here, I have a Flamespire Phoenix, I'm like, it's okay, I'm gonna get a regrowth, and oh.
And you don't.
And I do! Beam!
Oh yeah,
but
beautiful.
final trance are poor. Techless, it's not overcasted, however.
Yeah, it's a bit of a waste because it's only on Techless.
Yes, and
yes, he's very low and you want him gone.
Exactly.
That's still a bit of a waste.
Exactly, and also sending it on a Techless, if you're not sure if he has the poison and shower, actually with the 45% missile, like a ward save that it gives him, plus the healing, actually almost won't do anything to the guy. So yeah, trying to finish with my Silverine a few shots of the Sisters of Avalon, trying to finish the enemy mobility, and now I'm like, okay, I have a full health, I mean it was almost full health, Phoenix, I'm gonna finish Sartorial. Well, it's not as easy as I thought to do damage to that big bird with its 40 defense. Here,
it's actually not bad in melee at all.
No. Like here, I mean, that Flamespire just got massacred. It took like 2/3 of its HP in damage, and in return did almost nothing.
I think what happened was Sartorial had some infantry close to him, and the infantry took the hits instead of Big Bird himself.
Maybe, you must be right. So nice charge here, well, no, actually it didn't do damage. But I'm gonna try again to do a Fiery Convocation. I think it completely fails. Yeah, it completely fails. Which is, I mean, makes sense. And now, at this point I'm like, okay, well, if there is Sartorial, and that's a big danger, but I should beat the rest of the army. The big problem is I saw Sartorial, and I'm running out of option to do damage to the guy. I have Techless, that is, I mean, not the best combatant.
In trouble.
What?
Well, he's also in trouble, which is...
Yeah, he managed to survive. And now Sartorial is only at like 1200 HP, so I'm like, he's pretty low. Oh yeah, I thought I was aware, like the hitbox was too far away, but no, I actually took the damage on that charge. And so the Mirror Guards are engaged with my Sisters of Avalon. I'm like, that's okay. That's okay, I'm gonna retreat through my Silvering Guards and I'll be able to shoot. I'm gonna terror out these ones, and now I can't lose, right? I have Silvering Guards, I still have a Flamespire Phoenix with almost 1k HP. I have the Swordmasters to kill the Mirror Guards. I'm gonna shoot at them with the Sister of Avalon, and everything will be fine. Techless is broken, but he should be back.
He's on his job.
Exactly, and he's back, so I'm like, okay. I mean, everything is fine. The Flamespire Phoenix charges and gets killed in 2 hits by Sartorial. So now we don't have terror anymore. And so everything we have
Chaos
can
does
get...
have terror.
Exactly.
Big Bird is terrorizing.
And some other horsemen are coming back. We finally push through the Mirror Guard. But our sisters are terrified. And we have that blob of infantry. Techless can't engage at this point. Like one hit from Sartorial would kill him and rout him, and we need the leadership of Techless, you know. And now you have some units of Chaos reorganizing, and I'm like, this looked good for a minute, but now it doesn't look as good. The infantry will lose like a lot to my units, but I'm gonna try a last ditch effort. You have Swordmasters, Silverine, I should have made it a better round, but against Sartorial, and he's taking damage. But not a lot. Because
Instead diving up, giving him that extra 24 melee defense, making him much harder to hit.
Exactly, and now he's at 498 HP, but these Silvering Guards are terrified. These ones are gonna break, and this is gonna... Even though the balance of power is still in my favor, attempted last charge into Sartorial, countercharge me, does damage to Techless, and this is the end of that battle. This was a very close one. I definitely did some mistake. I think it was winnable.
I think you did the first part of the flank overload defense really well, but then the second you started losing infantry, you did manage to get them back quickly in time, and you got a bit of bad luck against the big birds.
Yeah, maybe there was maybe some RNG against Bad Bird, but if you look at how the Flamespire Phoenix, he still paid for himself. So like, and that's just his value. He also like saved our archer line a few times with clutch terror routes against the Marauder Horsemen and Marauder Horsemasters. Beside that unit of Elysian River Archer that I forgot, I think these ones did a very good job pushing back the hounds for a long time. Of course, at some point they were gonna get overwhelmed by the amount of mobility of the enemy, but that was fine. Swordsmaster again. I think one is a good idea in that matchup, just to give you some like a way to deal with the heavy chaos infantry if they decide to bring some. I don't think one is a danger. And yes, they have some spells that could like be dangerous for you, but they don't have a lot of range. So I think Swordsmasters, one of them at least, is good.
I agree. I think the main problem with them in this build is you invest so much money in the range part, and then you just want more funds to get more bodies between you and the range.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was your biggest downfall.
Wait.
Hello.
There you go. We just need to let the text to speech say hello, because that's very important to Jeez.
Yes.
And I mean, Techlist did his job. I think the enemy build was good. One thing I would say about Mary, it's a bit too generalist, I think. Like, it does a bit of everything, which is not always the best choice. Like, I have one Spamfire's Phoenix and like some Focus Fire against Monster. I have some Swordsmaster against Infantry. I have a bit of Counter Skirmish. I don't engage towards anything really, and that might be a problem. But
and also, when you've got like that big expensive archer line and the net, the Flamespire Phoenix is not that necessary to kill monsters. It's mainly there just for the terror.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what it did. Also, like against Sartorial, the problem of the Flamespire Phoenix against Sartorial is Sartorial. We can look at it right now. I'm gonna show you.
Because doesn't the Flamespire Phoenix do magic damage?
Exactly, and
his resistance.
Sartorial has how much resistance to magic? He has 25. So that's 25 damage less for the Flamespire Phoenix. And for a Flamespire Phoenix for a single entity doesn't do that much. It's armor piercing, yes, but against Sartorial, don't care, it doesn't have armor anyway. And 330 is very low. So I mean, if you compare to a Great Eagle, the Great Eagle has 390. And given the fact that Sartorial has no armor, the Great Eagle will do more. So yeah. Yeah, so that was that. Since the chess stream was a bit short, I decided to go for a few replays of mine that I never have the occasion to cast. I hope you like that. I'm gonna now end the stream. Tomorrow I'll be back casting some WWC replays. Already a few that I've been keeping with like some important names. I think you'll enjoy them. See you tomorrow. I love you all. Bye bye.